this all this coming together of people, because we're talking about things of each individual has a different understanding of what their truth is. Each one has a different understanding of what they know and believe, depending on their experiences, and they formulate it in their mind. So let's say that for the sake of humanity, that we all come to this planet and we all have a clean slate until maybe we get to reach a certain point, or extraterrestrials jive us or make us remember or whatever. But let's say that we all are equal, we're all got a body, we all have a clean slate. Now what? Why do you think that us coming forth as the Allied Command Secret Space Paranormal Researchers is part of the future? Or why do you think this is important to those that maybe don't have the same experiences?
I think because the secret to longevity, clean green energy systems, all these things that are being held secret, which are affecting each and every person alive, are being hidden from us, kept from us, and we need to get that information out there so we can become a conscious civilized civilization and go into the stars, as was laid out for us in the 60s by Gene Roddenberry. Those people in the 60s and the 50s and before that, like Robert Heinlein and Isaac Asimov, who were people that were working in World War II, and then they came out of that. They were in the military, and they came out and they're working as authors, and they're writing these science fiction stories, and they were on task to tell us these things so that we would begin to wake up and become conscious, because I think that humanity is meant to be reunited in space with our extraterrestrial space family. And some people, that sounds corny, but that's really what's going on. We've been disconnected from the totality of existence by agreeing to come into this prison planet, this slave system, and we are all corporate economic slaves. We come in, we have to work. We have to work for our food, work for our living, or perish, and it's not given to us, so we have to work. And we often end up working in jobs we don't really like. So I'm here to bring forth the new era of higher levels of consciousness. You might want to call it ascension. But I think it's just an integration of that which we already are and know on some level. And it involves us, each and every one of us, becoming conscious. And so it's, on some level, it's our duty to take these memories that we recall consciously, what I call the screen memories, and to go into it deeper so we can become a conscious being rather than this unconscious being. And one of the things that I had was a strong spiritual practice. I practiced Tantra. And in Tantra, you come into this veil of forgetfulness, and the memories of who you are as an eternal being, as a soul, are anchored in your spine, in your base chakra, in an energy system called Kundalini energy. And as you work on your different issues that you have psychological, psycho-emotional issues on each chakra level, on each energy system. And when you clear those issues you have regarding your past lives or your current life or your religious programming, your cultural conditioning, your conflicts you have with perhaps maybe you identify as one orientation and you're born another, into another gender. Everybody has stuff. We all have stuff. There isn't anybody alive that hasn't encountered stuff in their journey through life. So we deal with these issues. We clear them. We heal them. We interact with the people that are in our karmic circle, and we forgive each other and love each other, or perhaps we harm each other more, but we hopefully eventually resolve those things. And through this path, our Kundalini awakens, and then it activates and goes through our chakras and out our head, and it reconnects us with Source all the way to, the highest dimension of existence, and we begin to remember who we are. As we remember who we are individually and collectively, we awaken consciousness and reconnect with our soul family and our extraterrestrial, non-Terran, and other dimensional forms of ourselves and our family. So we, And it takes a lot of work to do that, and yet it happens to some people spontaneously. They have spiritual awakenings. They become conscious. I had a client who called me and said, I was grocery shopping. I was in Walmart or Kmart or something, and I looked across the store, and my eyes met this man, and all of a sudden I remembered everything. And so we don't know what the catalyst, and he didn't know why was it that when I looked in this man's eyes, suddenly I knew all my past lives and how I came to be here. And he said it blew me away, and I almost passed out, but I had to just act normal and walk out of the store and get in my car and collapse and just sob, because now I'm awake and I'm conscious. So I think we're going to wake up, become conscious sooner or later, so it might be better to do it sooner rather than later, and consciously rather than unconsciously, because then we're more effective, and we can be, these are opportunities to be kind and loving with those in our lives along the way. So anyway, I don't know if I answered your question. That's what came out of me, kind of like a download, so thank you.
You want to make a crack at it, Ken? Why are we helping each other with this Allied Command organization? Why do you think it's important?
Well, the reason I think it's important is it gives us each an opportunity to work on what we needed to improve. This is a training. I look at this existence that we're in now, and the shell that we're using is the learning device or learning ability. So that, for instance, well, I guess I could probably, let me try this one on for size. Yes, I'm a man. I've children, etc. in this lifetime, and interesting enough, when I was the third child being born, and my mother was totally convinced she was going to have the third child was going to be a little girl. So for 9 months, I was Patty Lou. So my good friends jokingly call me Patty Lou. Of course, I joke with them back too. But the thing I'm getting at is that parts of our existence, parts of our being, and knowledge that we need to gain, Earth has been an excellent learning planet where we can come back and take on a new shell and hopefully overcome. Now, for instance, I guess someone mentioned Adolf Hitler before. Let's hope that he has a better shell and has come back and, and more for loving and caring instead of the way World War II went. So we're in a position of growing and learning knowledge-wise, and take advantage of that by doing your own research, dig into the information, find out more truth to what's been going on. Like Janet talks about, I got involved in hypnosis actually as a teenager, and when I was in military school, military academy, I would hypnotize some of the students and help them have total recall when they got ready to take exams, and that helped out there. So when I had the opportunity then to get someone, a professional, to help me go back and regress, because I fixed it so that no one else could hypnotize me without my permission. And now I'm in a position that I'm going back and finding out a little bit more about who I was, who I am, and what left I still have to do in this. Right now, and people say, you're how old? I said, I'm only 77. I'm going to live to be at least 180, and when I'm approaching that, I'm going to push for 200. So, there are people right now on this planet that have exceeded well over 100, 150 years old, and a lot of it has to do with your own mind, and this is all part of the learning here. If you say, well, my grandma and my grandpa, they died when they were 65, I probably will too. Well, that's true. You're pre-programming yourself that's what's probably going to happen to you. So we learn to be much more positive and hopefully gain more knowledge of the universe, of intelligent beings and other areas, as well as either a male or female, and that makes you a much better whole person. So that's a little bit far off the beat from talking about Mars and the moon and space and stuff, which is my forte, if you will. But I'm just picking up kind of where Janet left off, because she is an expert in a lot of these fields too. So that's about my only input on it. If you want to pick back up, TJ, and we'll go from there.
All right. Well, regarding where I understand that we are together, I would like to suggest that all of us come from somewhere else, and that while we are here, it is my understanding that everyone learns at their own pace. So many of my friends know that time is based on the way we think here, linear around the solar system. And people like Linda Moulton Howe's been around 75 times, maybe 78 now. I don't know what month she was born. 76 years. I've been around 67 years around the sun. Ken, 75, and Janet, 2? Janet, 63 or 64? Where are you, Janet? 60? How old are you? How many times around the solar system? Around the
65.
sun.
I'm 77 now. So I'm still 65. Oh, you're still young.
Okay, you're 77. She's 65.
Correct.
And I'm 67. All right, so numbers shouldn't mean anything, but what it is we've learned from being born, we live and we die, is that our containers age, and that's the way the rules. There's universal laws, celestial laws, terrestrial laws. Down here, well, telestial. So there's telestial down here, terrestrial and celestial, we say in other world religions. So there's things we just can't, we call them nature's laws because we can't change them. So the empirical way we went from Aristotle and everything that he could explain, and the metaphysics after physics, I guess, that couldn't be explained back in the day. So we are working with metaphysicians, and we're doing our part. Now, empirical, we say science, we can measure it, take it apart, figure it out, bring it down to the lowest form or lowest measurement, figure out what's what, and all the way down to the microcosm, meaning the micro. There's a whole universe out there. And then we have various disciplines. And we have aliens in biology, or things we can't explain, and we call those alien to us. We don't understand them yet, or they're sort of unexplained. So we have that type of reality. Now, what I'd like to suggest is, at this point in a narrative in the world in which Janet, Kira Lessin, Dr. Alexander Philip, Sasha Lessin, or Sasha in quotes, he's a PhD in anthropology, and we've worked together for many years as the ACE, which he chose instead of ACO, but Ascension Center Education and the ACE Folklife. And anthropology covers that because folklife falls under that in the university or in the academia. Now, there's people all over the world that are interested in UFOs and extraterrestrials and aliens, so we've developed in the Allied Command the Alien Contact Organization, and then the CE-5 falls under as Contactee Experiencers. So we have aliens, we have abductees, we have contactees, and we have experiencers. Some say abductees saw aliens, while it tends to be contactees of their own accord work with experienced extraterrestrials. So is it a choice or not? That depends on who you speak to. Now, most of what Mutual UFO Network, which Janet and I have paid membership, I don't know if, Ken, did you ever pay MUFON dues? They're expensive now, but they didn't used to be. Did you ever pay $80 to $100 to join MUFON? Or I think it may be down to five or 10 a month now online. Have you ever paid dues to MUFON? Maybe not. Ken? Okay, well, anyway. Janet, can you hear me?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I hear you fine. I'm sorry, I pushed the wrong button.
Okay, did you ever join MUFON? Like I've paid an annual dues in 2008, and then I paid monthly.
Oh, quite a few years ago I did, but then I was being invited to be speakers, et cetera, and stuff, so I wound up not having to pay my dues or whatever. So, but I've done my share.
Yeah, you've done your share. So now we've got, there's been various UFO associations or UFO organizations, and they're out there on Wikipedia, which is one of the places people still go. And I guess, Janet, had some problems with her computer because she fell off.